Hey, class, welcome back. We are talking about, we're starting our new unit, and it's on civil rights. And today we're just going over the overview, some things that we're going to be talking about it. When you talk about civil rights, you're talking about the rights or the not to be discriminated against, all right? To have equal rights, equal opportunities. And every nationality, not just African Americans. So when you think about civil rights, that's what you usually think about, African American civil rights movement. But there's other nationalities, other ethnicities, other races that have gone through similar things. Native American civil rights, one of them. You have disability civil rights. People with disabilities have gone through some of these struggles too, and it's a protest to get it to where it's equal. Everything's equal, and you're not being discriminated against. That's what civil rights means. So, like I said, it's the basic rights that every citizen has under the laws of the government. In the United States, civil rights of each individual citizen are protected by the Constitution. All right. Civil rights for every person means that regardless of gender, skin color, religion, nationality, age, disability, or whatever kind of religion you are, a person should not be discriminated against. And it includes right to free speech, privacy, religion, all these different things. And some of these are in our Bill of Rights that are covered. But it don't always, some people don't pay attention to the Bill of Rights sometimes, and people are still discriminated against. But as in the case with several of the different things that we're talking about today, Native Americans, or this in this unit, Native Americans, African Americans, disability, civil rights, all these things we're going to cover and talk more in depth about it.
What does civil rights mean? Civil rights are basic rights that every citizen has under the laws of the government. In the United States, civil rights of each individual citizen are protected by the Constitution. Civil rights for every person means that regardless of gender, skin color, religion, nationality, age, disability, or religion, a person should not be discriminated against. Civil rights include the right to free speech, privacy, religion, assembly, a fair trial, and freedom of thought.
All right, so what does it mean? All right. The term civil right comes from a Latin term, ius civis, which means rights of a citizen. Anyone who's considered a citizen of a country should be treated equally under the law. It don't always happen that way, but they are supposed to. Everybody has rights, though. And that's what we're going to try to teach you, some of these rights.
What does it mean, continue? The term civil rights comes from the Latin term, which means rights of a citizen. Anyone who's considered a citizen of a country should be treated equally under the law.
So throughout history, I talked about, there's been more than just, when you think about civil rights, most people think about the African American civil rights movement. Well, it wasn't just them that has gone through civil rights in history. All right, it wasn't just that group that went through civil rights. It's been Native Americans that went through that. It's been people with disabilities have gone through it. There's been several different, and each movement fought for rights of a given section. You had women's civil rights. Well, they wanted the right to vote. We talked about women's suffrage when we talked about early 1900s this year. So the women's suffrage, they wanted the right to vote, and we talked about that. So all these different parts, all these different things are part of our civil rights.
Civil rights movements. Throughout history, there have been different civil rights movements. Each movement fought for the rights of a given section of the population that was being discriminated against. For example, the women's suffrage movement fought for the right to women to vote.
All right. So like I said, there's been several different civil rights movements. We are going to talk about Native American, African American, and disability civil rights. I'm not talking about the women's civil rights because we've already covered that.
Civil rights movements continue. There are several civil rights movements we will talk about in this unit. Native American, African American, and disability civil rights are a few.
Each of these movements that's taken place, they all had leaders during these movements. And a lot of times these leaders put their lives in danger because they stood up for what they believed in. They didn't want the people they were standing up for to be discriminated against or themselves to be discriminated. They stood up, they put themselves in danger. Some of these were Martin Luther King Jr., you had Dennis Banks, Cesar Chavez. These are just a few of the names.
Civil rights leaders. During each civil rights movement, there have been men and women who have led the fight for their own rights as well as those of others. In many cases, these leaders have put their lives in danger by standing up for what they believe in to be right. Martin Luther King Jr., Dennis Banks, and Cesar Chavez are a few of the names.
Why are civil rights important? Well, it protects the rights of every citizen of a country. All right, they are ensure that each citizen is protected from discrimination under the law. You do not want to be discriminated against. Civil rights laws in the United States make sure that citizens can enjoy life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that were promised in the Declaration of Independence. So that's why civil rights are important.
Why are civil rights important? Maintaining and protecting civil rights can be one of the most important functions of the government. Civil rights protect every one of us, not just some of us. They ensure that each citizen is protected from discrimination under the law. Civil rights laws in the United States make sure that all citizens can enjoy life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that are promised in the Declaration of Independence.
All right, comprehension questions. What is civil rights? Is it A, basic rights underneath the law or the government? B, opposite of left, or C, nothing? It is our basic rights to not be discriminated against, to be treated equally.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
Number two, what is the Latin term for civil rights? Is it A, semper, B, aius civis, or C, et tu, Brute? It is B, aius civis. I did not have that written down on the notes, but I'm giving you that one for free.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
Number three, why are civil rights important? A, to ensure that all can pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or B, they aren't, or C, just because. It is to ensure that all can pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which was promised in the Declaration of Independence.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
All right, class, that is it. I will see you back next time. We will dive more into detail. We will be talking about the Magna Carta, which was an important document that started civil rights, one of the things that started civil rights. So you all have a good day.